President Biden called Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal for invading Ukraine. The comment comes after Ukraine's president made a live stream plea to U.S. lawmakers for more help. In response, the White House is also authorizing $800 million in military equipment, including weapons, drones, and ammunition to be sent to Ukraine. That money coming from $14 billion in aid passed by Congress. Fox 4's Alex BOYÉR tells us where the aid stops short. Alex.
Hi, Steve. And President Zelenskyy addressed members of Congress in his native tongue, but then he transitioned to English to drive his message home to the American people. As of today, the American President Biden has given Zelenskyy $2 billion in aid to Ukraine, but Zelenskyy is not getting all he had hoped for.
I see no sense in life if it cannot stop the death.
During a live-streamed address to members of Congress Wednesday, embattled Ukrainian President Zelenskyy asked the Biden administration for two things. The first is the implementation of a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Zelenskyy made some of his remarks in English.
I'm addressing the President Biden. You are the leader of the nation.
The concern with the no-fly zone is that it would bring us into direct contact with Russian forces.
Dr. Matthew Schmidt is an expert on Russia. President Biden has stopped short of providing a no-fly zone or the transfer of military jets from neighboring Poland as the U.S. seeks to avoid a direct confrontation with nuclear-armed Russia.
Transferring Polish MiG-29s definitely would be seen as an act of war by Vladimir Putin in the same way that establishing a no-fly zone would.
Dr. Schmidt said he doesn't believe a no-fly zone would make much of a difference at this point in the war.
Given the fact that most of the destruction that Russian weapons have been bringing onto Ukrainian cities has been from the ground.
Zelenskyy's plea to an American audience was met by a standing ovation from members of Congress who watched from a giant screen in D.C.
Provide them everything they need in order to defend themselves and their country and defeat Vladimir Putin.
Shortly after the virtual address, President Joe Biden announced that the U.S. would provide an additional $800 million in security assistance to Ukraine.
That's our goal. Make Putin pay the price, weaken his position, while strengthening the hand of the Ukrainians on the battlefield and at the negotiating table.
The assistance will take the form of direct transfers of equipment from the Department of Defense to the Ukrainian military to help them defend their country against Russia's unprovoked and unjustified invasion. That includes anti-aircraft systems, helicopters, patrol boats, grenade launchers, guns, and ammunition.
And together with our allies and partners, we will keep up the pressure on Putin's crumbling economy, isolating him on the global stage.
Schmidt says this latest move could be seen by Russian President Vladimir Putin as crossing the line.
I am of the opinion, knowing Vladimir Putin, that he's capable of rationalizing many other things as a reason to cross the line in NATO. I don't understand how he couldn't see on-ground weapons transfers across the Polish border as acts of war.
Dr. Schmidt says we need to be focused on what's actually happened in Russia. He says a growing number of Russians are taking to the streets in protest against the war, and even a growing number of prominent journalists on state-run television in Russia have also spoken out against the war. Schmidt goes on to say that if enough Russians turn against the situation, the conflict in Ukraine, and the Russian elite make it spooked, and that may force Vladimir Putin to change his strategy.